I just knew, she said, that I had to sing, and she did. Here's a sample of her vocal talents. Welcome to St Edmund's Church in Leeds, where we have our musicians and congregation, and most important of all, our special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Lesley Garrett. Lesley, I've got to say, you look absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Especially
well, not so bad yourself.
Well, thank you very much. Especially on home turf.
Yes, it's lovely to be back in Yorkshire.
Well, listen, we can't wait to hear that voice. You're going to lead us in our first hymn. What is it?
Well, it's a hymn that's about praising the Lord and experiencing the love of Christ through the medium of song, which is what we're all here to do. So it's My Song is Love Unknown.
Fantastic.
My song is love unknown, my Saviour's love to me, love to the loveless shown, that they might lovely be. Oh, who am I that for my sake my Lord should take frail flesh and die?
Well, tell you what, it's been a few years since we sang together.
A couple, hasn't it? I think it was a chapel in Cardiff, was it?
It's always chapels or churches.
That's all right by me.
When little Lesley was growing up, was there a lot of music in the family?
Oh, are you kidding? We were the fond traps of South Yorkshire. There was always music. It's all we had, really. We weren't a well-off family. It wasn't a well-off area, South Yorkshire. It's a coal industry. Most of my family were miners or welders, or my parents actually both worked for the railways. My dad was a signalman. My mum worked in the ticket office. But what we all had that bound us together, and still does, was music. Because when we didn't have a telly or a record player, we always had a piano. It was a fabulous childhood, actually. It's full of music.
And both grandfathers were involved in music as well, weren't
Yes,
they?
yes. When I say it was a fabulous childhood, we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a flush toilet, for instance. We had ash middens in the back garden. Yeah, it was that impoverished. But we just didn't know, you know, we didn't know we were that impoverished. But my grandfathers were a huge influence. I had my granddad Garrett, my dad's dad, who had a dance band called Arthur Garrett and the Blackout Boys. That he
Sounds
formed.
great.
I know it was. He formed it in the war, and it went on forever. But I think my mum's father, my granddad Wall, was my bigger influence. He was too weak to go down the pit with his brothers, so he was put to the piano, as we say in Yorkshire, and in the early part of the 20th century. It was the second most reliable form of earning a living after mining.
Right.
Can you imagine a world where music is that popular? And he learnt to play the piano and played for silent movies, and he was a terrific influence.
Well, we're going to hear you sing again now, I'm delighted to say, and another hymn. And Leslie's chosen that lovely Irish tune, Slane. It's Lord of All Hopefulness. Leslie's stayed close to her Yorkshire roots, and recently she joined with a brass band and 2 South Yorkshire choirs for a concert at Sheffield City Hall.
It's an enormous responsibility, singing to a big audience, as I think we're going to have tonight. I think there's getting on for 2,000 people coming to the City Hall. And when people come to a concert, they expect to be changed by what they hear. I think that's my job, to make people cry if they need to cry, or laugh if they need to laugh.
Who can explain it? Who can tell you why?
For me, this kind of music making within the community is the foundation stone of all the great musical traditions of this country. This is where it starts. This is where I began.
Some enchanted evening.
I've got a very special lady here tonight, Vivian Pike, who was my very first singing teacher when I was at school, 16, 17 and 18. And it was through her fantastic teaching that I got into the Royal Academy of Music when I was 18. Of course, I'm incredibly nervous about her being here because, you know, it is probably 30 years since she taught me. And I don't want her to think I've deteriorated. I'm very excited about singing Climb Every Mountain, though it's a huge song. People misjudge it at their peril. It's a really difficult song to sing because it literally climbs a mountain. And you've got to save and save and save, so you've got plenty for the end when you're on the top of that pinnacle.